Good day, and thank you for standing by. Welcome to the H World Third Quarter 2022 Earnings Conference Call. At this time, all participants are in the listen-only mode. After the speaker's presentation, there will be a question-and-answer session. To ask a question during the session, you will need to press star one one on your telephone. You'll then hear an automated message advising your hand is raised. Please be advised that today's conference is being recorded. And now I'd like to hand the conference over to Mr. Jason Chen, Investor Relations Director. Thank you. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Good morning and good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Welcome to H World Group Third Quarter 2022 Earnings Conference Call. Joining us today is our Chairman, Mr. Ji Qi, our CEO, Mr. Jin Hui, our President, Ms. Liu Xinxin, our CFO, Ms. Chen Hui, our Deputy CFO, Ms. Ye Fei, and our CEO of International Business, Ms. He Jihong. Following their prepared remarks, management will be available to answer your questions. Before we continue, please note that the discussion today will include forward-looking statements made under the Safe Harbor provisions of the United States Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995. Forward-looking statements involve inherent risks and uncertainties. As such, our results may be materially different from the views expressed today. A number of potential risks and uncertainties are outlined in our public filings with the SEC. H World Group does not undertake any obligations to update any forward-looking statements except as required under applicable laws. On the call today, we will also mention adjusted financial measures during the discussion of our performance. Reconciliation of those measures to comparable GAAP information can be found in our earnings release that was distributed yesterday. As a reminder, this conference call is being recorded. The webcast of this conference call, as well as supplementary slide presentation, is available at ir.hworld.com. With that, now I will turn the call over to Mr. Ji Qi. Mr. Ji, please.
Good morning and good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining our call today. We are happy to report that our China business RevPAR in the third quarter recovered to 90% of 2019 level thanks to pent-up leisure travel demand, as well as a gradual recovery of business travel. This recovery is closely associated with the relaxation of COVID policies this third quarter. However, with the recent increase of COVID cases, we may face more uncertainties and a negative impact on our business recovery as a consequence of tightened control measures. In the third quarter, we reported that we carry out organizational restructuring and established 6 regional headquarters to focus on economic and middle-scale segments. In the third quarter, we have been further implementing regionalization strategy and strengthening our regional organizations. At the same time, we realigned the structure for upper middle-scale, upscale, and luxury brands in China to provide a more efficient management and oversight. With our long-term sustainable quality growth strategy, we have been further emphasizing on the improvement of products and service quality. We accelerated the exit from low-quality soft brands in economic segment. Moreover, we continuously upgrade our mature brands such as Hanting and Ji Hotel to new versions with better design and quality. Looking back in the last 3 years, COVID have brought tremendous challenges to Chinese lodging market. However, branded chain hotels were showing high resilience than independent hotels. In fact, over the last 3 years, chain hotels were continuously gaining more market shares and leading the recovery of the industry. We believe this shift from independent hotels to branded hotels will further gain momentum and will help branded hotel chains to further consolidate the market. We were confident that we will benefit from this trend with our strong brands and quality products. With the recovery of many international travel markets, our Deutsche hospitality business achieved another good quarter with further RevPAR improvement. RevPAR in third quarter recovered to 102% compared to 2019 in this quarter. With the cost management and the reorganization of business structure in place, we are in a good position to continuously improve our profitability. Due to the large sporadic resurgence of COVID in many provinces and cities in China, we see strict COVID measures continue to be carried out. In order to cope with short-term turbulences and preserve dry powder, we will further streamline operations, be prudent on capex spending, and allocate resources in a disciplined way. We are also work closely with our franchisees and partners to help them cope with the challenges during this special period. Together with friends and partners in our ecosystem, we will further strengthen the foundation and build the resilience of our company. With this, I will turn the call to Jinghui, discuss our business development in details.
谢谢季琦。首先，我们先翻到第3页，看一下我们第3季度的业务的亮点汇总。第一，在疫情影响下，华住中国 RevPAR 的这个持续恢复。第二，在坚持经营增长的战略背景下，酒店数量持续扩张。第三，中高端及高档酒店的持续发展。第四，我们成功推出了华住会 APP 的 4.0 版本。第五， DH 国际业务的持续恢复。接下来我将分别阐述上述各项业务的具体发展情况。
Thank you, Jiqi. Firstly, please turn to page 3. Let me briefly review our key achievements in the third quarter. Number 1, our China business RevPAR recovery continues despite COVID impact. Number 2, continued network expansion with a focus on sustainable quality growth. Number 3, on track on the development of upper middle skill and upskill segments. Number 4, successful launch of new H World app with enhanced features. Number 5, Dutch Hospitality's business is on its recovery path. Now I will then discuss for each of above points in details in the following pages.
请大家翻到第4页。尽管疫情持续反复，但是今年第3季度，华住中国 RevPAR 的恢复还是不错的。总体的恢复至2019年的 90%， 主要因为7、8月受益于休闲旅游市场需求的推动，9月开始商旅需求也在持续恢复中。当然进入10月以后，疫情反复有所加剧，管控措施也趋于严格，因此10月的恢复度仅为2019年的 74%。
Please turn to page 4. Although the continuous resurgence of COVID, we still achieved a relative good RevPAR recovery in the third quarter in China, with the RevPAR recovered to 90% of 2019 level. This was mainly driven by pent-up leisure demand in July and August, as well as gradual recovery of business traveling in the late September. However, we saw more sporadic resurgence of COVID since October, with stricter restriction was imposed again. Our RevPAR in October only recovered to 74% of 2019 level.
请大家翻到第5页。公司的酒店网络持续扩张 ，GMV 持续增长。截至3季度，华住中国酒店这个规模79.7万间，同比增长10%。其中华住中国的酒店客房数量77.2万间，同比增长11%。第3季度，公司 GMV 酒店 GMV 为152万亿元，同比增长24%。其中华住中国 GMV 135亿，同比增长22%。
Please turn to page 5. Our hotel network further expanded and the GMV also continuously increased in the quarter. At the end of the third quarter, our number of hotel rooms grew by 10% year-over-year to 797,000, with China hotel rooms grew 11% year-over-year to 772,000. Our total GMV in the third quarter increased by 24% year-over-year to RMB 15.2 billion, where China GMV grew 22% year-over-year to RMB 13.5 billion.
公司下沉3次线的战略也在持续推进，请大家翻到第6页。截止3季度末，华住在营和管道酒店中的低线城市酒店占比分别为 41% 和 59%， 仍然在提升。3季度新签约酒店中也有一半来自于低线城市。当然，大家也注意到，今年3季度新签约酒店数量仍然低于去年同期，受持续反复疫情的影响，加盟商的投资信心仍在恢复中。
Our lower tier cities penetration strategy continues progressing. Please turn to page 6. As of the end of the third quarter, hotels from lower tier cities contribution further increased to 41% and 59% of total hotels in operation and pipelines respectively. Moreover, as you may notice that our number of new signings during the quarter was still lower than a year ago. It still shows that our franchisees' confidence level has not yet fully returned due to resurgence of COVID.
请大家翻到第7页。回顾疫情之后的几年，从酒店行业的数据可以看出，连锁品牌酒店相较单体酒店表现更加稳定，抗风险能力弱的单体酒店关店较多。2020年和2021年净关店率分别为 22% 和 13%。与此同时，华住中国的酒店数量是持续增长的。我们图中也列出了华住中国的关店率情况，2020年和2021年分别为 10% 和 7%。由此可见，我们的关店率比单体酒店的净关店率要低很多。行业连锁化率也在持续提升，从2018年的 19% 升到2021年的 35%。疫情加速行业整个趋势没有改变。正如季琦之前所说，越来越多的单体酒店转向连锁品牌酒店，这样的趋势会给予华住长期更多的市场整合机会。
Please turn to page 7. Looking back the last few years post-COVID, based on the China lodging industry data, we observed that branded chain hotels were showing better resilience than independent hotels. A lot of independent hotels with weaker anti-risk capabilities were actually closed, with roughly 22% and 13% of independent hotels actually closed in 2020 and 2021, respectively. During the same period, our hotel network were still expanding. We also showed our closure ratio in the figures. Our closure ratio was 10% and 7% in 2020 and 2021, which were much lower compared to independent hotels. China lodging industry's churn ratio continuously improved from only 19% in 2018 to 35% in 2021. Therefore, we think the trend of the further industry consolidation post-COVID remains unchanged. Moreover, as Mr. Ji mentioned in the beginning, more and more independent hotels started to prefer joining branded chain hotels, which could further bring more consolidation opportunities to us in the long run.
请大家翻到第8页。在发展的过程中，我们必须坚持经营增长的战略不动摇。以汉庭品牌为例，过去的几年里，我们持续升级汉庭产品。我们也发现升级后的汉庭产品相较于老产品 RevPAR 平均能提升 20%。截止22年3季度，汉庭 2.7 以上升级版本占汉庭酒店总量 59%， 相较于2020年提升了 25%。汉庭的客户满意度评分也在持续提升，由2020年的 4.5 分提升至2022年3季度的 4.67 分。
Please turn to page 8. We still need to insist on our sustainable quality growth strategy for our long-term business development. For example, our Hanting brand, we continuously upgrade our Hanting products over the past few years. We found out that after upgrading to newer version, the RevPAR could improve by roughly 20% than older version in average. At the end of the third quarter, Hanting 2.7 versions and above accounted to roughly 59% of total Hanting hotels in operation, improved by 25 percentage points in 2020 compared to 2020. At the same time, Hanting's customer satisfaction score also improved along with product upgrading. From 4.5 in 2020, improved to 4.67 in the third quarter.
不仅汉庭品牌，集团整体的酒店质量也在持续提升。请大家翻到第9页。低品质经济型软品牌酒店和汉庭 1.0 产品在华住集团占比持续下降。截止22年3季度，占比仅为 14.3%。公司酒店整体的客户满意度评分也在持续上升，从2020年的 4.54 分提升至22年3季度的 4.68 分。
Please turn to page 9. Not only Hanting brand, but also all our brands in our portfolio, we keep improve the overall hotel qualities. As you can see, low quality soft brand economics hotels and Hanting 1.0 version contribution were gradually declining over the years. As of the third quarter, it only accounts for roughly 14.3% of our total hotels in operation. Hotel product quality improvements also led continuously customer satisfaction score improvements. It improved from 4.54 in 2020 to 4.68 in this quarter.
请大家翻到第10页。我们的橘子酒店在3季度突破了500家的里程碑，酒店数量达到505家，成为继汉庭全季之后第3个突破500家的门店的品牌。
Please turn to page 10. Our Orange brand hotel achieved its 500 hotel milestone during the quarter, reaching 505 hotels by the end of the quarter. It becomes the third brand after Hanting and G Hotel in our group to achieve over 500 hotels.
我们中高端升级战略也在稳步推进，请大家翻到第11页。在中高端领域，恒记酒店本季度推出了新产品，做了在交通枢纽或者繁华的商业中心。恒记品牌将德式的简约和经典的实用主义理念带到了中国，为广大商旅客户提供极致高效的商务商旅体验。2家新产品的酒店分别将在深圳和武汉开业。
Our upper mid-scale segment is also steadily progressing. Please turn to page 11. We introduced a new version of intercity brands during the quarter. Inner city will be mainly located in traffic hub or commercial centers location. It brings in German simplicity and pragmatism to hotels in China to provide high efficient service to customers. Our 2 newly opened intercity hotels are located in Shenzhen and Wuhan.
在高端酒店领域，我们的花间堂品牌也在逐步突破旅游度假市场。请大家翻到第12页。自收购之后，花 华住成功的将花间堂品牌运营模式进行转变，由之前的自营酒店占比约 90% 的品牌转化到以轻资产加盟模式为主的品牌，加盟店占比提升至 67%， 品牌也从单一的花间堂品牌延伸到花间集和花间系列品牌，实现多品牌发展模式。
For our upscale segment, we saw our Blossom House brand is quickly tapping into the leisure traveling market. Please turn to page 12. Since our acquisition, we successfully transformed its business model from previously 90% of hotels are under lease model to roughly 67% of the hotels are under asset-light franchise-based model. Moreover, the brand also extends from a single Blossom House brand to Blossom Lifestyle Community and Blossom Collections, achieving a multi-brand developed model.
请大家翻到第13页，我们对华住 APP 再次进行了升级，成功发布了华住会 4.0 的版本。本次升级围绕华住服务和全流程数字化宾客体验展开，在之前高效服务的基础上，进一步强化和客人在不同服务触点的交互服务体验，比如 APP 上的智慧洗衣模块，可以远程预约，实施管理洗衣状态，强化会员权益的感知。2022年前3季度已有9900万人次体验了线上服务，而去年全年只有2700万人次。服务线上化的比例也有2021年的 21%， 提升至2022年10月份的 71%。
Please turn to page 13. We further upgraded our Edgeworld app and successfully launched its 4.0 version. This upgrade focused on Huazhu service and the full digitalization guest experiences, and further strengthening the interactive service experiences with guests at different touch points on the basis of consistent, highly efficient services. For example, our intelligent laundry function, it allows customers to make reservation remotely and track the laundering process and the status in real time. Such function could strengthen the perception of members' privileges and benefits. In the first 9 months of 2022, there were totally 99 million customers have experienced our online service, compared to only 27 million customers a year ago. Usage of online service also improved to 71% in October from 21% last year.
以上是我们华住中国部分3季度的业务重点。下面有请国际业务 CEO 何继红为大家阐释 DH 近期运营相关的情况。请继红。
Above are our key business development updates for the quarter. With that, I will now turn the call to our CEO of International Business, Ms. He Jihong, to discuss our DH business development during the quarter.
Can you hear me well? Jason? Hello?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Jinghui and Jason. My name is Ji Hong. I'm responsible for international business at Huazhu. In our international business, we're very happy to report that we had continuous recovery in the third quarter. Our blended RevPAR increased to 102% compared to the same quarter in 2019, with this recovery trend continuing October as well. The recovery is primarily brought by ADR, which was increased by 17% compared to the same quarter in 2019. This demand continues to be driven by transient leisure travel and the pent-up corporate group businesses. In the third quarter, our team in Deutsche Hospitality continued to focus on cost management and the margin improvement. As a result, we can report the third quarter EBITDA of 94 million RMB, a significant improvement compared to the loss of 115 million in the third quarter 2021, and an achievement of 213% increase compared to second quarter 2022. This margin improvement was driven by headquarter overhead reductions, operational efficiency improvement alongside with the RevPAR growth. At the same time, we're carrying out several energy management initiatives in our hotels to cope with increasing energy costs in Europe, especially in Germany. In third quarter, we added 23% system size growth of hotel rooms compared to the third quarter 2019. We launched our new website with all brands and a new H Rewards program to focus on loyalty development and a direct booking channel. We rolled out several new digital products to improve technology deployment. We're currently focusing on digital leap to further improve efficiency of our budget hotels through technology deployment. With this, I'm handing over to Ms. Ye Fei for third quarter financial results.
Thank you, Jihong. Good morning or good evening to everyone. Let's move on to our operational and financial review for the third quarter 2022. As shown on slide 17, Legacy Huazhu blended RevPAR for Q3 actually performed well, only 10% off from 2019, mainly dragged by the occupancy rate. The ADR 2022 Q3 was up by 3% on a year-over-year basis, and the RevPAR was up by 9%. Turn to page 18. Legacy DH business recovery further accelerated in third quarter, as Jihong mentioned. Our Legacy DH blended RevPAR for Q3 grew by 57% to 76 euro compared with Q3 2021, and also grew by 2% compared with the 2019 level. The occupancy improved by 17 percentage points compared with Q3 2021, but still 9.6 percentage points lower than 2019 level. The ADR improved by 15% year-over-year to $114, which actually exceeded the 2019 level by 17%, driven by the pent-up demand in Europe and also price increase against cost inflation. Please see our financial results on slide 19. Total revenue grew by 16% year-over-year to RMB 4.1 billion in Q3, mainly driven by the 7.7% year-over-year revenue growth of Legacy Huazhu to RMB 3.2 billion and 68% year-over-year revenue growth of Legacy DH to RMB 932 million. Revenue was in line with our previous guidance. Legacy Huazhu revenue growth was mainly supported by the leisure demand in the summer holiday during July and August, and the gradual recovery of the business traveling in late September, as well as a low base from last year. Breaking down of the revenue in Q3, leased and owned revenue grew 15% year-over-year to RMB 2.7 billion. Excluding DH, leased and owned revenue of Legacy Huazhu grew by 0.5% year-over-year to RMB 1.2 billion because we shut down some loss-making hotels during this quarter. Revenue from managed and franchise hotels declined by 16% to RMB 1.3 billion, mainly driven by 16% revenue growth of Legacy Huazhu and 22% revenue growth of Legacy DH. The 16% year-over-year growth of revenue from managed and franchise hotel of Legacy Huazhu also included roughly 120 million RMB impact from the management fee waiver provided to the franchisees during this quarter. Due to the strong business recovery of Legacy DH leased and owned hotels during this quarter, at the group level, the managed and franchise revenue contribution was flattish at 32% in Q3 compared to last year. But China only, although considering the management fee waiver provided to our franchisees, our managed and franchise revenue contribution in the third quarter further expanded to 40% compared to 38% in Q3 last year, thanks to our continuous network expansion with asset-light model. Now let's move to the cost and profitability section on slide 20. In Q3 2022, the reported operating income was RMB 500 million, compared to only RMB 72 million last year and RMB 8 million a quarter before. The significant increase of the operating income year-over-year was mainly due to better China business performance and the recovery of DH business. Excluding DH, Legacy Huazhu's operating income in Q3 was RMB 449 million, grew by 88% year-over-year, and improved significantly from RMB 21 million a quarter ago. The hotel operating cost for Q3 was RMB 3 billion, increased by 6.6% year-over-year. For Legacy Huazhu, it recorded RMB 2.3 billion hotel operating costs, almost flattish from last year. The increase was mainly from variable costs such as utility, salaries, performance-based bonuses for hotel GM, and more GM recruited as our hotel network expands. But we offset the cost by roughly RMB 130 million rental reduction, which doubled the amount we achieved in Q2. For Legacy DH, we recorded RMB 744 million hotel operating cost, indicating 18% year-over-year growth. The increase was mainly due to the increase of variable costs associated with business recovery such as labor, F&B, variable rents, and etc. But we have less rental reduction compared to the same quarter last year as business recovered. Our pre-opening cost was RMB 25 million in Q3, mainly due to the limited service lease and owned hotels under construction during this quarter, including the flagship intercity hotels. This number is expected to be small as we raise the hurdle for the leased hotels and very much focus on the asset-light model. Our SG&A in Q3 increased by 1.6% year-over-year and 15% Q-over-Q to RMB 586 million. Excluding DH, SG&A for Legacy Huazhu was flattish on a year-over-year basis to RMB 435 million, in which the labor cost was roughly the same as last year, while the headcounts were already trimmed during this time. Further efficiency improvement is on the way. The 31% Q-over-Q increase was due to the resumption of business in Shanghai headquarters vis-a-vis the lockdown in Q2. On DH side, overall the selling expenses increased along with the business recovery and generated higher efficiency as the selling expenses as percentage of revenue actually declined by 2% from quarter versus quarter. Although other operating income in Q3 2022 increased by 90% year-over-year to RMB 76 million, mainly due to more subsidy received from government for our China business side. Turn to page 21. Our adjusted EBITDA was RMB 491 million in Q3 2022, compared to RMB 385 million a year ago. DH achieved better profitability in Q3 with EBITDA at RMB 94 million, compared with the loss of RMB 116 million last year. Excluding DH, Legacy Huazhu recorded an adjusted EBITDA of RMB 397 million, declined by 20% year-over-year, but significantly improved from RMB 23 million a quarter ago. The year-over-year decline was mainly due to the RMB 340 million forex loss brought by the depreciation of euro-dollar versus our accounting currency USD, which largely is a non-cash loss. If we exclude the forex loss, the EBITDA would be over RMB 150 million higher than 2021. In Q3 2022, we recorded adjusted net loss of RMB 375 million, enlarged from the loss of RMB 46 million a year ago and the loss of RMB 84 million a quarter ago. Excluding DH, Legacy Huazhu recorded an adjusted net loss of 389 million, enlarged from a loss of 39 million a quarter ago. The net loss was mainly due to forex loss, as I mentioned previously, and also the timing adjustment of effective tax to be paid in China between the quarters. Adjusted net profit of legacy DH turned positive for RMB 14 million for the first time in Q3 compared to the net loss of RMB 164 million a year ago. Coming to the cash position, our net debt increased slightly to RMB 6 billion in Q3 from RMB 5.7 billion in previous quarter. It was mainly due to some bank facilities withdrawn this quarter. Our cash balance improved to RMB 5.2 billion in the quarter from the RMB 4.7 billion a quarter ago. The unutilized bank facility are RMB 2.9 billion. Given the COVID impact remain uncertain, we are very cautious on CapEx and OpEx spending to preserve cash. In addition, we have successfully redeemed our convertible note with amount of $475 million recently through both the combination of bank facilities and cash generated from operation. Turning to page 24 on guidance. Given lately there are more resurgences of COVID happened in many provinces and cities, H World expect revenue to grow 7 to 11% in the fourth quarter of 2022 compared to the fourth quarter of 2021, or to decline 1 to 5% if excluding DH. Again, above guidance only reflect our current view, which is subject to change. With that, let's open for a Q&A. Thanks.
Thank you. We will now begin the question and answer session. As a reminder, to ask a question, you need to press star 11 on your telephone. Please stand by while we compile the Q&A roster. Our first question comes from the line of Dan Xu from Morgan Stanley. Please ask your question, Dan.
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
感谢管理层给我这个提问的机会，我是摩根士丹利的 Dan 徐显达。我有2个问题第一个问题是关于华住中国的，那我先请教第一个问题就是想请教管理层关于华住中国这个4季度以来的我们整个 RevPAR 的这个趋势，因为我们看到这个10月稍微有一点回落就是 74%， 那请问一下11月我们现在截止现在的这个情况 RevPAR 的一个趋势，还有一个我们4季度华住中国收入指引的这个负的1%到负的 5% 的这个指引呢，是相对于一个4季度我们是一个怎样的 RevPAR 预期，还有开店的这个预期呢？谢谢。Sorry, please allow me to repeat my question in English. This is Dan from Morgan Stanley. I have 2 questions. My first question is on legacy Huazhu China domestic business. I would like to ask about the recent RevPAR trend. For October, we saw that there was some decline in RevPAR due to more tightening measures. So October RevPAR was 74% of 2019. I would like to ask about the trend in November, and also for the fourth quarter revenue guidance, especially for legacy Huazhu, what did management factor in terms of RevPAR and also hotel opening expectation? Thank you.
好的，我先回答一下那个有关第一个问题，就是进入4季度以后，全国的中国的疫情确实处于散发的状态，而且不同城市的管控也在持续的进行动态清晰。所以于此这样的一个状况，华住中国的 RevPAR 恢复，我们预估在第4季度在 70% 到 75% 之间这个趋势的这样的一个幅度吧。第二个问题就是关于开店对整个收入的影响。其实我们第4季度开店，现在由于第一个受到疫情的这样的管控可能在开店上面我们这个会有一些影响，但整体来讲营收受到开店的当期的影响很少主要还是受到已开业门店的整个RevPAR 的这样的一个影响大概这样的情况。
Okay, so to answer your first questions, Given a more sporadic resurgence of COVID happen in China in many cities and provinces, and we are seeing more strict restriction carried out by the local governments again to maintain the zero policy in China. So we are now expecting the fourth quarter our RevPAR recovery could be in a range of 70 to 75% for our China business. In terms of the opening, in the fourth quarter, given the recent COVID impact, the opening will be somewhere affected as well. However, if you ask about the gross opening effect on the revenue, actually the fourth quarter new opening has very limited impact on the revenue for the fourth quarter. Majority of the impacts will be from, again, the RevPAR recovery, which is largely impacted by the recent COVID resurgence. Thank you.
谢谢丁总还有 Jason 的回答。我的第二个问题是关于海外的 DH 的这个问题，就是在欧洲能源费用的上涨还有通胀的这个环境下，刚才何总也跟我们讲到了管理层在这方面有个能源效应应对措施。我想问一下，在这方面能不能给我们多一点指引跟展开的讲一下？因为我们看到三季度 DH 的这个运营成本其实是比二季度环比是有一点点下降的，所以想请问一下管理层预计这个运营成本近期特别是四季度这个冬季还会不会呈现一个这样上涨的一个趋势呢？好吗？My second question is about overseas DH business. So against the backdrop of surging inflation in Europe, and can management share with us about more about the energy efficiency measures implemented by DH? We saw DH operating expense actually decline 4% Q-on-Q in third quarter. What is the trend in fourth quarter, and should we expect further increase during the winter? Thank you.
Thank you, Dan, for your question. I will address the issues of international businesses. Your question is quite complicated, so I try to dissect in different areas. Actually, we are focusing, first of all, on top line management. So we're focusing on revenue management, really to generate top line results and increase ADR where possible, which is really in line with all the international hotel management group, especially with inflationary results. At the same time, of course, we'll continue our operational improvement program that we already started this year, including operational cost management, especially in headquarters, efficiency improvement, which is at the hotel level, as well as energy efficiency management, as you mentioned. At the same time, actually, we are also conducting our portfolio review as well about really the performance of our assets. The energy efficiency management on the hotel level are very granular and very operational. For example, you do not turn on the aircon when it's not necessary. You turn down the heat when it is too warm, and you turn off the light when there's nobody in. So we really try to penetrate to all the operations, day-to-day operations, to cut down our costs, our energy costs. At the same time, we are also negotiating with the energy supply company where we can fix the cost, and we will fix them. And where we see the possibility to work with the flexible pricing, we will do that. Basically, we are working in a short-term fixed price and in the mid to long-term more flexible pricing. But just to assure you that we are really working very closely with the energy supply companies to manage our cost. Some of these effects we reported this quarter. Actually, you should be able to continue to observe them in the fourth quarter and the next year as well, especially in some of the efficiency improvement program and overhead cost reduction. The full year result will only start to show after the one-time kind of write-off. I hope that addressed your question, Dan.
That's very clear. Thank you, Mr.
Right. Thank you for your question. Our next question comes from the line of Ronald Leung from Bank of America. Please ask your question, Ronald.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me? OK. 管理层早上好，我是美银证券 Bank of America 的 Ronald Leung。我有两个问题，我第一个问题是关于这个过往几个月都有疫情的反反复复，我想请问这样有没有更影响到这个加盟商的情绪了？如果可以的话，可以分享一下过往几个月的酒店签约的情况是怎么样吗？Please allow me to ask the question in English. So over the past few months, there were still COVID outbreak across various cities and provinces in China. Do you see that this would further negatively impact the franchisee sentiment? And if possible, could you share the monthly hotel sign-ups over the past few months? Thank you very much.
好，我先回答一下这个问题啊。确实，中国持续的这样的疫情管理对于整个市场是有信心的影响的，我们不能否认这个情况。目前华住在3季度末和4季度的签约速度大概是正常情况的大概在80%左右。当然我们也看到有些积极的这个情况。在中国其实整个的运营的市场我们还是分两个大市场，一个是在1、2线的城市，一个是在3、4线的城市。总体而言，对于3、4线的疫情防控和信心影响要远远小于1、2线城市，因为目前疫情主要爆发和聚集的都在1、2线和省会城市，所以我们也注意到了不同城市不同的这样的一个区别的状况。加盟商的信心的恢复可能还是要等待整个疫情的管控的放松和整个经济的复苏，可能我们需要等待一些时间。当然在这个大的背景下，华住不会放缓对下沉3、4线以及中高端战略的突破我们特别在中高端的品牌树立和新的产品打造依然在有条不紊的推进。谢谢。
Okay. Yes, to address your question. So basically, we agree that the current restriction due to COVID has continuously affected our franchisees' confidence sentiment. So in terms of the new signings, we are seeing the recent new signings in third quarter and fourth quarter are roughly at 80% compared to a normal period. However, we look at that things in different ways because China is big. So we are seeing that quite different development trends if you divided the country into tier 1, tier 2 cities and the lower tier cities. In fact, we are seeing that in the lower tier cities, actually the confidence sentiment impact and COVID impact are much smaller compared to those tier 1 and tier 2 cities because more resurgence of COVID happened in those tier 1, tier 2 cities. So that's why the confidence level for the franchisees in lower tier cities are relatively better compared to those in the tier 1 and tier 2 cities. I think if you are talking about the full recovery, so we are still need to wait until the further ease of the COVID restriction and the improvement of the economic condition in the upcoming futures. However, for us, in terms of our strategy, we will not because of the weak market condition or low confidence level, we will insist on implementing our strategy in terms of the lower tier cities penetrations as well as further penetrating or increase our market share in the upper mid scale segment. Thank you.
谢谢你钟辉总还有 Jason。我下一个问题是关于这个公司在这个华南市场的这个发展。华南市场是一个很重要的市场，但是公司相对上的这个市场份额以前是比较小。 可以分享一下最近在这个华南市场的这个进展是怎么样？公司有没有一个比较中长期在华南市场发展的一个目标I will ask my question in English. So the Southeast market in China is one of the regional markets that the company has put great emphasis on. So could you share the latest development in the Southeast market? And if possible, could you share the mid to long-term development target in the Southeast market of China? Thank you very much.
对，整个华南市场是华住在接下去整个区域发展当中的重中之重。华住在整个过去1年做了如下的一些准备。第一呢，就是我们整个区域化组织的下沉和前移。我们在过去的1年当中储备了从上海以及本地化培养一批核心的干部，来组建了南方公司。整个的组织的下沉和前移已经基本成型。第二呢，就是在于整个人才的本地化的培养上面，我们在积极的筹划，以及本地化的营销和产品力的打造。因为南方的市场的客户的需求和我们过往在上海在北方可能还是有些区别，所以我们贴近用户，这个适配我们的品牌和产品力的工作也已经基本具备。那么在过去1年，应该讲华住在南方已经有增长的这样的一个趋势。我们的目标呢，一样和其他区一样，要实现未来整个市场20%的市场的这个渗透率，所以这个工作都在有条不紊的展开。我们在深圳、在广州以及南方的核心区域，一部分的以汉庭、全季、陈季、水晶的旗舰店都已经陆续开业，并且取得了非常不错的运营的效果和品牌的示范的效应。所以我们很期待在未来的3到5年，南方的整个的战略将会有条不紊的进行逐步的突破。谢谢。
Okay, thank you for your questions. So in terms of the southern part of China, yes, it is one of the most important regions that we are going to further penetrate. In order to achieve this, so we have been making a lot of preparations over the last year. So the most important things that we did a very significant organizational restructuring, and we moved the entire organizational down to the regions, as well as move a lot of the management or middle management team from the Shanghai headquarters to the local market. At the same time, we are also building up localized based talent pools and trying to make, for example, the localized marketing strategy, localized supply chain management to meet the customer demand in that particular market, because those customers' demands are somewhere different compared to what we have been seeing in eastern part of China, like Shanghai. In terms of the long-term target, again, similar to other regions, we are targeting 20% of the market share in southern part of China as well. Actually, we have been opening several flagship stores in core cities in southern part of China, like Shenzhen, Guangzhou, by using our Hanting G Hotel, as well as Orange and Crystal Orange, to provide some of the showcase in that market. So we are hoping that in next 3 to 5 years, we will be achieving a very good development in that particular regions. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason 金惠总谢谢。
Right, thank you for your question. Our next question comes from the line of Simon Zhang from Goldman Sachs. Please ask your question, Simon.
管理层你们好，可以听到吗？
可以。
OK， 好的，谢谢。我有2个问题，第一个问题想问你就刚才好像看到你们那个 ADR 过去几个季度跟2019年去比的话，还是做得蛮好的。想问的问题是因为刚才你们也说了在那个疫情底下呢，很多 单体性的酒店最近关了很多。那你们会在看到这个机会底下，我会想问的问题是，在长期去看的话，会不会可能会有一个价的空间呢？My first question is related to the price or ADR. We have observed that, over the last couple of quarters, the ADR has been very resilient. In fact, it's actually exceeding the 2019 level. Given the fact that there's a lot of independent hotel being closed over the last couple of quarters, given COVID, would management see the opportunity for them to raise price upon the COVID after the COVID is over? Thank you.
是的，有关 ADR 的这个问题，我想受益于两个维度，一个是外部原因，一个是内部原因。随着华住整个区域化管理的深入，我们在华住内部做了不同品牌之间的价格协同和区域联合营销的这样的构建，所以内生的原因也使得我们的 ADR 进行了必要的调整和保证了将来的长期的增长。这个工作我们确实在内部把 ADR 的管理工作作为非常重要的一项收益的内容正在展开，同时呢也受到一些外部的市场的必然的影响，包括这个通胀的这个提升，包括整个单体酒店的削弱，都会给我们一些市场的 ADR 提升的空间。所以这个问题是ADR 是华住一定会非常重要的核心的收益的管理的内容，在2023年会持续的加强，并且随着市场的变化进行必要的快速的调整和适配。谢谢。
Okay, thank you. Yes, for the ADR, actually, it is benefited from both external and internal factors. For our internal factors, this is actually aligned with our regional management that we have been doing over the last few months. So internally, we have been using pricing synergy, brand synergy, and regional synergy to create a better ADR to assure that for a longer term, healthier and sustainable growth. And it becomes a very important part of the long-term revenue management. This is one. And for the external factors, this is due to several factors like higher inflation, as well as the impact of the continuous closure of the independent hotels, that also from the external side to provide some of the room for our further improving the ADRs in the longer term. Thank you.
好的，谢谢管理层。另外一个问题想问是品牌那个战略的问题。刚才你们有说举几那个酒店现在的数量已经超过500了，然后跟汉庭跟 HTHT 三个品牌也是超过500了。想问未来的方向是你们觉得是应该打造几个比较大的品牌，还是说跟比如说其他竞争对手一样，就可能加多品牌的数量，还是就想一下你们长期是怎么想这个问题的。The next question is in relation to the brand strategies. Observe and also saw in the presentation that now you have 3 brands where you have more than 500 stores, including Hanting, HTHT, and Orange. Wondering whether the company would want to concentrate it in those 3 brands or several key brands, or just like other competitors, they're going to be diversified and expanded into a lot more different brands. Thank you.
好的，我来回答一下关于品牌战略的思考。华住在品牌战略上非常强调一个核心的逻辑，就是所有的品牌要数一数二。我们希望在有限服务、中档、中高端以及我们的高端的战略里面，都能培育和孵化出在中国数一数二的品牌。在过往国民市场，我们塑造了汉庭，这会儿我们也在积极的塑造下沉的你好品牌。在中档市场，我们也孵化出第一个 在中国数一数二的这样的中档品牌全季，我们依然希望橘子能成为第二个在中档非常强的品牌。对于华住而言，塑造的每个品牌都希望在各自的赛道成为客户喜爱、加盟商更挣钱的中国的具有领导地位的品牌。谢谢。
Yes, to answer your questions, in terms of our brand strategy, our key theme behind this is that in each of the segments, we were trying to build up the number one or number two brands in the market. So in terms of our economic segment, we have been successfully established a very strong brand, which is Hanting, and we are also establishing now the Nihao brands specifically for the lower tier cities penetration. And in terms of the middle scale segment, our G Hotel has been very famous and popular in the market and leading top brands in the middle scale segment. And we are seeing a pretty good progress of the development of Orange Hotel, and we hope that it's going to be creating another one in that particular segment. So basically, for each of the segments, we want to have one or two brands which is on the top list of the brands, and which can create a very popular brands that our customers like and helps our franchisees to make money. Thank you.
好的，谢谢。Thank you.
Right, thank you very much for all your questions. We have now reached the end of the question and answer session. I'll now turn the conference back to the management team for closing remarks.
Thank you everyone for taking your time with us today, and we look forward to see you in upcoming quarter. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. This concludes today's conference call. Thank you for participating. You may now disconnect.